Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of the Alerted podcast. This is the show we talk about movies, talk about filmmaking, we talk about dark forests and elves as well. Basically anything that suits our fancy, whatever's going on in the world. Today we have a really exciting episode. I know, I say that every time, but today's the first time we've ever had more than one guest on. But in order to have these guys on, we have to have more than one guest because, let me introduce our guest for this episode. We have Rodolphe and Luke from ActionVFX.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Yeah, ActionVFX. I'm super pumped. I'm like shaking how excited I am to talk to these guys because obviously everyone knows who ActionVFX is, especially on my channel. I know that everyone knows who you guys are. You've been involved all around the place. So yeah, what's good, guys? How's life going? What's up?
Hey, things are doing great. Thank you so much for having us in this episode. Like we're all super excited to just kind of chat a little bit and
yeah, for sure,
just see what else is out there.
Yeah, so something that I like to always just start off with is I like to ask the guests where exactly they are in the world. So I know you guys are in the USA if I'm not mistaken, but what exact state are you guys tuning in from?
Yeah, so we are in Johnson City, Tennessee, East Tennessee, kind of known for a part of the world that likes to blow things up and and burn things down. So
I thought that was more of the Texas thing, or is that the same close by? Or
not super close geographically, but we share a lot of the same interests.
I know the accents are quite similar if I'm not mistaken, Tennessee and Texas. So the accent wise, it's quite similar.
They all have that southern
accent. Yeah.
I don't have it though.
But so do you guys you just work there, or have you grown up there and lived there, or do you come from different states?
Yeah, so I've actually grown up in Jonesboro, which is just right next door to Johnson City, and always been interested in filmmaking and that sort of thing. So that's actually how Ro and I got connected whenever he moved to Tennessee. So you can share that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm originally from Haiti, actually.
Oh.
So that's where I grew up. And then when I was 12, that's when I moved to the United States. And yeah, we moved to Tennessee, which was a huge culture shock. But eventually got used to it. And now, growing a company here. And yeah, it's been good.
Yeah, that's actually leading into one of my first questions that I have. But before I ask that, let's just go over quickly just so the audience knows how the show is going to work. So I've got a couple of questions here for the guys to answer. Nothing serious. And then towards the end of the show, we'll get into the hectic part, the action-packed part, much like, ActionVFX. So action, we'll get into the alerted quiz segment, which I believe Rodolphe is going to be undertaking and representing ActionVFX. So I hope you brushed up.
I'm ready for the challenge, for sure.
I'm sure you'll do great. I hope you've brushed up on your movies and put up with all of that. But yeah, it should be fun. So as I said, my question that I wanted to ask you guys is, you mentioned that you guys met that way through obviously filmmaking, but I'm very interested in hearing the story of how you guys met, because I was always following Rodolphe beforehand when he was doing the Rodipolis, but then when you branched off into ActionVFX, then Luke came about. So I was wondering how that all occurred.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty interesting story. So I met Luke at it was like a creatives meetup in our area, mostly dealing with After Effects and things like that. So we met once briefly, and then when it came time to have the first initial ActionVFX shoot, which was before we did the Kickstarter, and one of the behind the scenes guys dropped out last minute. So I just randomly posted on Facebook, "Hey, anybody wanna, get in my van with me to Chicago?
I have cameras.
It's like drive with me for 12 hours to go shoot some explosions." And then Luke was one of the crazy persons enough to do it, and yeah, basically like we just met and worked on that first shoot and really just connected and saw that like we kind of had like. He really believed in the vision that we were doing for ActionVFX, and it just naturally evolved from there.
Yeah, and just the way that he introduced his vision for the company and what he wanted ActionVFX to be and what he wanted it to do, like, I mean, it was immediately contagious. I was like, man, I like world domination. With that.
Yeah, world domination's where it's going. I mean, you guys are doing really well, which is always, it's nice to see that you guys are doing well, especially with the values that your company has. Because you know, my channel, I specifically, I like to do tutorials in HitFilm Express because it's free. So a lot of people have access to that. And you guys have a similar attitude towards the whole, the indie community, the low budget community, with you give away free assets and stuff. So I wonder, like, what prompted you to consistently give out and make free collections and give them out for free to users?
I think that's really just, you know, like you mentioned, just with our values and how we want to operate. I mean, we know what it's like to be indie filmmakers and how awesome it was to have, you know, free resources, whether it's education or assets or different, you know, different tools to use. So, I mean, that was always something that was important to us, I think. And so we knew that starting that's what we wanted to be. We wanted to be that resource that people could rely on. And yeah, so it's not just, you know, you know, we don't want to take your money and do all this stuff. It's like we want to provide value with whatever we do.
Yeah. But I think at the end,
it's like at the end of the day, I was going to say, like, at the end of the day, it's, you can't just only like sell all the time, because it's, for example, we just released the spell hit effects, and we did a cool little contest for that. And I mean, that in and of itself is super fun to just see the community just kind of come around that. And, you know, the submissions we got were awesome. So it's definitely allows us to do little things like that, which it's invaluable, really. So
yeah, but I think that also builds a more of a personal relationship with the community, because at the end of the day, they're not just customers, they're sort of fans at the same time. They're rooting for you guys. They want you guys to do bigger projects. And it also opens up more revenue streams at the end of the day, because if you're getting free assets, when you eventually make it big, you're going to come back to the roots. And I know a lot of really huge movies and TV shows are using you guys' stuff, which is also really exciting to see that it's getting not just the recognition in the indie community, but it's getting the recognition on, you know, the higher up sources, which is brilliant in my opinion. I mean, for you guys, like, especially with a company like you, I think we all think that you guys deserve it, like, more than anyone else. I said the same thing when I was talking to Josh for the HitFilm, because they also obviously have HitFilm Express, which is free, and it's the same. I know you guys do work with them sometimes, right? With the I know you have software packages or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, we work with FXM a lot.
Yeah. So you see, it's like the similar ideals that come together, and it just works. And I think that's the really cool thing. It goes in a good direction, which is really cool. So I did want to
thank you. Glad you feel that way.
Yeah, no, I feel 100% that way. I did want to squeeze some information out of you guys about upcoming products, but I doubt I'll be successful with how things are kept under wraps. But is there anything you can tell us about some of the explosive stuff coming soon? That's not giving it away.
I will tell you some pretty cool stuff we got coming up next month, and the keyword here is cool.
Oh, cool! That's a hint.
We're launching our weather category, which is something we've been really planning a while back, but it's good to finally be able to do it. So we're really seeing some snow effects and other, you know, cold related effects, which I think is I think it looks awesome. It's really great to help people people composite those into their projects. And it's just kind of like, we never only wanted to do the big explosions and things like that. I mean, obviously there's a time and place for destruction, but also not all visual effects need explosions, something blowing up or something.
We're not all Michael Bay here. So. Yeah, we don't want to just chuck explosions.
So it's like well, maybe we'll make snow explosions one day, but until then, until then, you'll have regular falling snow. It's gonna be great.
I would love to see snow explosions.
Yeah, maybe it's like this big untapped vein that we didn't know was a silent killer.
Just have a snowman and then put explosives
explosive in it and just explode. They could go. Yeah, they could be like a whole snow community just waiting for snow effects. You could have could hit home with that. By the way, that's a really cool bunk you have.
Let's just start a new website.
All right, yeah,
a brand new website, a brand new brand.
Just snow of VFX. By the way, I want to stake in that company now. I want to be the third CEO involved. The Snow VFX.
You're
website.
part of this, of course.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. Something fun I want to ask you guys is, let's say tomorrow or just after you're done shooting this, a company approaches you and tells them that they want both of you to co-direct a project. They like what you do. They want you to write the script. They want you to organize the whole thing. They'll give you the budget, the resources. What would your dream project be? So you have the funding and you can make whatever you want.
Oh man, I know what my dream project would be. I don't know about you.
You can go first.
Yeah, you can go one at a time.
So I hope no one steals this idea since I'm gonna say it. But basically, do you know of the show 24?
I am probably the biggest fan of 24. I have all the seasons right to my right now. I'm not even kidding.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
I'm not even kidding. Oh, I feel sorry for Luke because now we're going to go on a 24 rant just talking about 24.
No, it's literally, I would say overall my favorite show of all time, honestly. It's amazing. Because everything about it is just awesome. Yeah. So basically my big idea that I have, and I've actually started writing this, is 24 but with aliens.
I think we have a winner there. I think we have a winner. I don't think you should say anymore just in case, because that seems like a really cool idea. I don't want to
I won't say anymore, but it's basically
24
I think it's gonna be great, and it will happen one day. It will happen.
It will happen.
I said it here first.
It needs to happen. We need everyone to make this happen. Start spamming. Who does 24? Is it what company? Fox does 24. Start spamming Fox and telling them there's a brand new idea, because they're trying to reboot this thing multiple times and it's not working. So I think this is the.
We need a good hashtag. What would the hashtag be?
Hashtag, yes. What would the hashtag be? Rodolphe for 24.
Hashtag 24 with aliens.
Jack in space.
Jack in space. Hashtag Rodolphe 24. Hashtag Jack in space. I'm putting that on the screen, by the way, so that's going to be happening right now. Everyone go tweet ActionVFX that. Tweet the account. Hashtag Rodolphe 24. Hashtag Jack in space. It needs to happen. But what about you, Luke?
Hashtag Tony's an alien.
Tony's an alien, yeah. Hashtag Michelle comes back to the dead from life. She comes back to life, but she's an alien this time.
Sparters, man. Come on.
Yeah, seriously. I'm trying to think. There's not really one specific project that I have in mind that comes to a dream project. Really just having a tightly knit crew. For most of our shoots and stuff, it's pretty well acquainted with working with Ro and some of the other crew that we have here, but there's not really one. It's I don't even want to try after 24 with aliens. It's
is there maybe a specific?
I'm just gonna pass.
A specific genre that you would like to maybe your favorite genre in films that you'd like to watch, or maybe you'd like to make something in that? That could be something.
I think good. Obviously, good story-driven action is probably one of my favorite veins.
So Transformers.
Definitely Transformers.
I said story-driven.
Transformers. Oh man.
I mean, they have pretty things to look at, to each their own.
No, but I watch Transformers movies.
Transformers movies. Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I mean, really just action-based stuff. Stuff that I would like to watch on a bro night or something like that. It's let's watch stuff blow up. I don't know if you're familiar with The Raid. That was actually
I've heard
bro
of
night
it,
movie
yes.
that we had. It's pretty intense. The stunt choreography alone is they're just a couple of scenes where you're watching them fight, and it's just And it
Those
just
are the
keeps
best
going
kind.
and going. And
I need to add that to my
Yeah,
list.
yeah.
Highly
definitely.
recommend the raid.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good one. But
So-
yeah, I guess just action based something.
Is there a specific action movie that came out recently that you really liked, stunt wise, besides John Wick? Because everyone says John Wick nowadays. Besides the first two John Wicks, is there something that you like really noticed action wise? Maybe even Rodolphe, if you've noticed something.
Let me see.
I would say one movie that really took me by surprise, but that's not very recent though, was The Winter Soldier, like Captain America,
yeah.
The Winter Soldier.
That could-
Like
yeah.
I remember the first time I watched that, it was just like, man, like they really took the choreography to a whole new level.
Yeah.
And I just didn't really expect that from a Marvel movie, which was
Definitely.
really awesome. But that's been a long time ago.
I think that was
I'll think on it. What do you
2014 maybe, something like that.
Hmm
What about you, Luke? Have you seen anything recently?
I'm trying to think. It's like now that I'm on the spot, there's not anything that I'm like, yes, this is
One-
the
well-
this is the one.
While you're thinking of something, one that I recently I liked. It's maybe not as action wise as the other movies. It action in a different way. Was it came out? Okay, this isn't as recent as well. It came out I think 2016, but it was Hacksaw Ridge with Andrew Garfield.
Oh yeah.
Which that movie when I watched that,
that was a really good.
yeah, like I was sitting in the theater and you don't really get much action until about maybe 40 minutes in or something because they're focusing on the love story, and I was watching it, I was enjoying it, and when I got to that first shot that went off in the war scene, I was literally like shook. I was hooked on the screen and I couldn't look away. It was really breathtaking, especially from Mel Gibson. Versatile director, definitely. Yeah, what are you guys' thoughts on that movie?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely liked it. Their use of like a lot of the like high speed slow motion shots with the guy just like walking through with the flamethrower.
Yeah,
that was
definitely.
like,
Yeah.
good job. Good
I know you
job.
guys like whenever there's fire on screen, you probably get really excited because you know how it is to shoot those things, and it's probably
Unfortunately, like sometimes that hinders at least myself from like enjoying things
No,
Yeah,
for sure.
because
I
like
can
I
see
have
why.
such a bias of like, I wonder if they did this or
yeah.
but
Especially for me, it's like with shootout scenes now. Whenever I'm watching a TV show or a movie,
Yeah,
and there's a shootout scene, I'm mainly paying attention to the muzzle flashes. Like, I
Yeah.
wonder if they're using our stuff for this right now. And it's like, oh wait, pay attention to the scene.
Yes.
Oh, I think that one was one of ours. So sometimes it does.
That is so
It does
relatable
get
though,
distracting.
because the minute you sign yourself up and you start taking filmmaking seriously, and you start editing for a while, you start directing for a while, making stuff, you it's unintentional, but you start to notice all the cuts. You start to notice when there's these certain effects happening on screen, and you realize you're not watching the movie, you're watching the other side of the movie, which is the physical side of it.
Yeah.
But like, I'm sure to you guys it's even more extreme because of the explosions and all the different collections that you guys make. When you see those effects on screen, there's always a chance that it's one of your guys' assets. Is that how you noticed that the shows were using it by eye, or did you maybe realize when they were purchasing it or something?
Yeah, so it can come about it a couple different ways. In some cases, we have been watching the show. I know Ro was watching Blind Spot
yeah.
specifically,
Oh, yeah.
and he was like, "Hey, that looks a lot like ours." And so I was able to do some detective work and get in touch with them and to confirm. But yeah, and other times, people would just write us out of the blue and say, "Hey, I made this. This is what I used," and that's always cool because
Yeah, that's
it's
definitely cool.
sometimes surprising. Like, hey, that's awesome.
Yeah, to see when your stuff is in, to see how people are using it is always like a cool thing. Like that's why you mentioned the competitions, because you see creative ways. I mean, when I saw the results for the at this time of filming this episode, the recent spell hits, I was actually quite surprised the way some people used it. They didn't just use it for spell hits; they used it for creative ways, which is always cool to see that sort of thing. Yeah. Okay, so another question I had for you guys, something a bit on the more of the lighter, fun side of things. It's I've mentioned this before. My viewers will know that I like to watch TV shows, and we've just discussed Rodolphe and I's mutual love probably a bit overboard, our love for 24 at a certain stage. I would cut this podcast in half and just start talking about 24. I'm trying to control myself right now because I would be going on to 24. But yeah, so before we get into 24, let's talk about something else. So I've always wanted to know this. I always like to ask this to stir things up. A movie that Rodolphe can answer and Luke can answer, both of you different answers. A movie that you think is highly overrated.
Ooh, this is a dangerous ball
Dangerous,
game.
But speak clearly. No one, don't have to worry about anything. Just say it.
Oh man, I'm gonna have some good ones. Let me think about it for a second.
Can state multiple options, is no problem.
I would say one of the first movies that kind of came to mind, at least for me, was The Hurt Locker. Because, you know, when that movie came out, I think it won Best Picture. And I remember being so excited to finally watch it.
Yeah.
And then when I did, it just didn't do anything for me. Like, it was a long time ago. Maybe now I would have a different opinion.
Yeah.
But I just remember thinking, this movie I would never give this movie an award for anything.
Wow. Because there were definitely some like scenes in that I mean, they were really, especially like cinematography standpoint, was like really like awe-inspiring to me.
Oh, so you guys disagree on this one?
The way that they also use.
Yeah,
that's okay. That's okay.
That's nice. I like when that happens.
With just like the shock waves of one of the blasts that went off, and it was just like the shots that they have of like the rust on the car just like popping up, and then just like some of the other slow motion stuff like I thought was really sick.
All right, I would give it an award for
that one.
Great high speed cinematography. Okay. How about that?
Yeah. What about you, Luke? Got any specific movies in mind?
Trying to think.
Something that Rodolphe might disagree with as well.
Oh man, dangerous game. I want to keep my job. Let's see.
There's one that I mentioned in the previous podcast that you guys might have seen. It's Christopher Nolan's latest film, Dunkirk. Have you seen that one? Because that one.
Yeah, I've seen Dunkirk.
What did you think of that? I'm curious to know.
It's like, I don't think it's Christopher Nolan's best, but I mean, I enjoyed it. Like, yeah, I definitely don't think it's his best movie. I think I preferred Interstellar, Inception, The Dark Knight, The Prestige. I would definitely say it's my least favorite of his. But at the same time, was it overrated? Well, I guess it was in the Best Picture contender, right? Oh, yeah.
I found like the hype.
Yeah, I didn't think it was Best Picture material.
I found the hype to be extreme. Because every single person that I would maybe like a movie reviewer or something, and the reviews were out of this world. People were saying the tension and the suspense is so amazing that you can taste it. And I went and I specifically bought an IMAX ticket for that movie. I was like, they filmed it with IMAX cameras. I'm gonna do this right. I went to go watch it, and I was still like, and I was just very. It could have been the hype that disappointed me. Because when you hype it up so much,
you didn't really taste it.
Yeah, I didn't taste the tension. I didn't taste the tension. And tension specific. It has a very specific flavor. You need to taste the tension. Because if you can't taste it, it's not there, man. A weird analogy, but it works.
No, yeah, I can definitely relate to that because, as I said, I enjoyed it, but it was still
definitely
my least favorite movie of his. But
I mean, he has such a strong track record too. Yeah, I feel like it would be hard. I mean, Interstellar is one of my top 5 favorites. And then I just watched The Prestige again this past week, and it's just like, just the storytelling aspect. It's just like, oh man, I see you. I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's like I can respect Dunkirk as far as, to me, it feels like an experiment. You know, because it's like there's a conventional way that we know to make a movie, and then that was more trying to do something else because it was less of a story per se. It was more like you dropped into this series of events
Yes.
and things are unfolding, which I like. Like I enjoyed that because it felt different.
It's definitely
But,
different, yeah.
yeah, I can see your point about it.
I
being
would
overrated, but-
definitely give them an award for the. I'm not sure if they were nominated for this, but the sound design. I definitely noticed that they had really good sound design.
Yeah.
So that I'll definitely give to them, the sound design. But from the suspense aspect, I couldn't really feel it. But yeah, so. But I see that you guys mentioned. Oh yes, what are you saying? Go on.
Actually, I just remembered the true movie I should have said.
Oh, here we
that
go.
was overrated. The Force Awakens.
Oh, we're going into Star Wars.
That's the true
territory.
overrated. That's the true overrated movie.
Get out
Oh.
of here.
So Luke, I think you disagree with him on that one.
Maybe just a little bit.
Not a little bit.
Mainly, okay.
I love the Force.
The Force
Awakens.
Awakens. It's yes, it is very similar.
Very similar.
You know, like I'll give them that, but it's still like it's the reboot of this new Star Wars vein, and I don't know, like for that, I'm just like super excited, and I like it. I like it. I think it holds up. I mean, I know Ro has plenty to say.
Oh no, not on your show. Not on your show.
Oh, please go ahead. I'm very, very interested to hear this. I'm glad we're not debating The Last Jedi because I'm done debating The Last Jedi because that's the one that people always like to rant about. But since it's The Force Awakens, I'm all ears. Please go ahead.
I mean, I'll try not to say much, but I will
Yeah.
say like the main thing for me was just an extreme lack of progress, I feel, because it's like, you know, you've watched these characters in the previous trilogy and you're kind of expecting, okay, we ended here and now let us go somewhere. And then to me, it's even like with the First Order and everything, it's just kind of like, no, like we're past this. Why is... Yeah, so to me, I feel like most of my issues kind of came just from that, just feeling it didn't move things forward, and I was really excited to say, hey, to see, you know, where is this, you know, new trilogy going now, and it didn't really do that for me at all. And
So I take it that you...
I didn't think it was as funny as it thought it was. That was one thing too. It wasn't as funny as it thought it was.
Yeah.
So I take it that you enjoyed The Last Jedi then,
But-
for being different, I guess.
No, yeah, for sure. And it's like we discuss it sometimes too. Not everything in The Last Jedi I liked, but at the same time, at least to me, it felt like, okay,
We're moving forward.
you want to do something new.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to get from here to there, which I really appreciated that about
Yeah.
it. So,
That seems like a well-rounded thought on Star Wars and how it's progressing. Yeah. Another question we can jump onto before we get to the quiz segment is this is a very biased question just for you guys, but favorite explosion in a movie, if you can name one favorite explosion, and it can't be one of yours. It can't be one of yours because obviously those are the best. Wink, wink, wink. But besides yours, have you?
favorite explosion in a movie?
Or maybe explosive
go
action
first for
sequence.
that
Maybe
one.
an explosive action sequence that was used really well.
Explosive action sequence. Let me see. I gotta say, I wasn't ready for any of these questions. You said the questions were gonna be different,
Yeah.
but I
We're
obviously
all about the tough
wasn't
questions
prepared.
here. We're all about the tough questions. Making the seats.
I mean, the
warm.
toughest, man. These are the hardest.
It's like favorite explosion.
Explosions, when they come to mind, I think of Skyfall. I mean, no, Spectre, sorry, Spectre. I know they had the biggest explosion or something stupid, crazy like that.
Yeah.
Those might not be the favorites, but those are definitely big ones. Obviously, one of my favorite explosions, and this is pure coincidence, but we're talking about Star Wars. One of my favorite explosions is not really an explosion, but it sort of counts as one. I'm sort of cheating here, but it was the one where they hypersped into the First Order ship. That
Yep.
Oh yeah.
that I thought was a work
Yeah.
of art. It really was.
That was a really cool scene.
Yeah. So that was
Yeah, it was. I thought that was done really well, and I mean, obviously, audio cues and things like that.
Yeah,
really benefited in the whole sequence. But aside from the story holes there of you have all these droids laying around, they can obviously pilot a Star Destroyer into light speed. I don't know. There's like a lot of things, but that sequence itself for the action.
Well, in the Star Wars universe, I mean, droids aren't looked upon as just robots, right? So
yeah.
They probably don't want to just sacrifice a droid life.
Yeah, but she has to be like this well-known leader that, I don't know. I hated her character anyway.
I particularly didn't like her character either. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. It was like, okay, like a good leader would be like, hey guys, I have a plan. I'm just going to kill myself and fly into hyperspeed. Obviously, I'm the first one that's ever discovered this. I don't know.
No, yeah, it's like she was keeping everyone in
the dark for no reason.
In darkness of her plan, but it's like, why? It makes no sense.
I guess
I get that it kind of made for a twist, but it's like, no, you're a leader. You have people's lives depending on you. Communicate.
Yeah, and if you think if she would have said the plan, Poe might have not gone and almost jeopardized the entire thing, because he almost messed the whole thing up. And then they were angry at him.
Right.
Now, and from that perspective, you're wondering why you're angry at him. We would have done the same thing if we were in his situation, because you're not telling us anything. Yeah. That was those.
All right, back to explosions.
Yes, back to explosions. Definitely, back to explosions.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead if you were gonna say something.
Yeah, I was gonna say back to explosions.
I would say it's not like an action scene, but in The Dark Knight, when the Joker blows up that hospital, like that whole sequence.
Oh, yes.
I remember the first time I saw that and being, in the theater and just, like it cuts to that wide shot of Gotham General, and it's just like, that is serious.
Yeah.
And it's like The Dark Knight is one of my favorite movies ever, and I was just so into the movie that I felt that my CD was on fire for a second.
Yeah.
So I would say that is definitely an explosion scene that comes to mind.
And I think there was also a sort of unplanned thing where he pressed the trigger. I'm not sure, and then it didn't go off.
Yeah.
And that was like, it was like really, it was like, I also definitely one of my top movies of all time. Everything with that, when you just watched it in the theater, the experience, the way it opened, the way it ended. Another Christopher Nolan, so Christopher Nolan's got his way. He's got his magical touch. Yeah. Definitely.
The man's a genius.
Yeah. What about you, Luke? Explosions? Perhaps a transformer?
Sounds like the Hurt Locker to me, the way you described it.
Well, I mean, like, the Hurt Locker was on my list as far as, like, favorite explosive scenes. I was trying to pick something else just because we already talked about it.
Maybe Transformers.
Because I thought, I mean...
I wouldn't, but it's up to you, man.
They look good. They're shiny. They're shiny. It's like, ooh, man, that's some resolution, No,
yeah.
But yeah, specifically with that Hurt Locker's shot, like I really enjoyed their blend of CG and practical.
Yeah.
Like they did a really good job with that.
I need to check this movie out. I actually haven't seen it.
Talking about the Hurt Locker.
I actually haven't seen the Hurt Locker, but
it's good.
Seen two different opinions on it. I need to watch this movie and see what I think about it myself. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I need
let me know what you think after you watch it.
I will definitely let you know, because it seems like there's a split here, and I'm sure, like, I don't know how is the reviews for that movie. I'm sure it also got a bit of a split for people liking it and not liking it at the same time. So I'll definitely check that out. So now back to the real discussion. 24. How are things on the 24 side of life? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I think we can also.
Well, I'm just waiting for Kiefer Sutherland to come back.
Yeah, man, definitely.
To wrap up the story of Jack, like then my life will be complete.
Is he still like the president or something right now? I haven't really been
that show
following
actually.
That show got canceled.
Yeah, recently.
Okay.
So he's open for business. Right now, as we're talking, Jack is back.
Jack is
being tortured in a Chinese prison or something. Russian prison.
I think.
Prison. They just left him there.
I think that was you testing my knowledge there.
Well, I don't think there's only 24 questions in the... I should have added some, though. Although you would probably could have extremely high score then. If you... Yeah.
Make it a special 24 edition.
24 quiz, yeah. The Alerted Quiz 24 edition. Hashtag Rodolphe24, hashtag 24 Jack in Space. Definitely. Hashtag that all around the place.
Jack in Space.
I'm going to tweet that at Fox immediately after this. I'm not kidding. Immediately after this. I'm doing it.
Okay.
But yeah, I think we've asked enough questions, and I think it's time to ask the real questions and jump into the Alerted Quiz. To brief you on how this works, just really quickly, and for anyone who doesn't know how this works in the past, the quiz is basically there's 15 questions, all movie related, whether it's directors, composers, actors, story, plot, stuff like that, all movie related, and you'll have 60 seconds on the clock to answer as many as you can. I don't think anyone, you got to get behind him and get ready. It's like a boxing match or something. You got to be the trainer. Push him along.
Come on, man. Come on.
Got to get the jabs in. So I don't think anyone has answered all 15 before, but people have gotten through a nice chunk. So the leaderboard as it stands now, our reigning champion is someone you might know, Mr. Grant Cook from Film Learning, who works with you guys. He's got a astounding, scary 8 points. 8 points. So no one has managed to beat him yet. No one has managed to beat him yet. Then immediately after him we have Josh Davies from Hit Film with a 3 points. And then we have Javert with a 2 points. And then we have our last guest, Aidan Robbins, with a 1 point. Now, all those points are respectable because I like to point this out. I'm the one asking the questions, so I have the easy job. If I was on this quiz, I'd be at the bottom, like -5 or something like that. So
it's tough.
Yeah, these questions are not, I'm not going to say they're easy, but one thing I would give you guys, give a tip I've seen in the past, if you do not know the answer to the question, then I would say rather just say pass so you can move on and see as many as you can. Or if you want to take a couple seconds, we do have 60 seconds, so you can, but otherwise it should be fun to see what happens with this. I'm very curious to see Rodolphe's movie trivia knowledge. So Rodolphe, are you
same?
Yes.
I do have one question.
Oh,
though.
yes.
Let's
questions.
say I pass on a question.
Yeah.
Can I come back to it later?
Well, I'm not sure there'll be time to come back to it because we'll be going, because no one has really finished all 15 questions. If you do manage to finish all the questions and you get to the end and there's no more questions left, then I'm sure you can go back to it if you want to. We can start a new round maybe, and I'll start saying the questions that you passed on. And Luke, no cheating. I don't want to hear you whispering stuff to Rodolphe.
Right.
Yeah. So, Rodolphe, are you ready to undertake the Alerted Quiz?
I am ready.
Ready. Okay. So, I'm going to start the timer in 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Go. John Matrix is the name of Arnold Schwarzenegger's character in which film?
Commando.
Correct. Who scored the music for Rocky and the Karate Kid?
Pass.
Which film's tagline reads, "Whoever wins, we lose"?
Pass.
Who directed the classic film The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly?
Martin Scorsese.
That is incorrect. What is the name of the Bond girl in Casino Royale?
Vesper.
Correct. The
Lynn.
first Fast and Furious movie was released in what year?
2001.
Correct. Better Call Saul is a prequel to which TV show?
Say it again.
Better Call Saul is a prequel to which TV show? Better Call Saul.
Oh, Breaking
Correct.
Bad.
What is Adonis Creed's nickname in Creed? And that is the timer, but...
Donnie.
Okay, that is incorrect. But I would have given you that one if you got it correct, but that is incorrect. Okay.
Really?
So, if we were to tally up the points here, I'm going to do a dramatic reveal. Rodolphe from ActionVFX. Rodolphe Pierre. How much do I say correct? Rodolphe Pierre Louis. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have scored
Yes, sir.
a pretty amazing 4 points. So, round of applause, everyone. 4 points, which puts you second on the leaderboard, beating Josh Davies from Hit Film and beating everyone below him. Well done, sir. How do you feel about this insane victory?
Nice.
Hey, I mean, the goal here really was to beat Josh,
And you have, sir. Well done. Well done.
So I feel pretty proud of myself.
Yeah, you should.
But no, that was fun. Like, that was a good round of questions.
Yeah, if you're interested in some of the answers to the questions that you got wrong, the person who scored the music for Rocky and the Karate Kid is Bill Conti, and the film's tagline, "Whoever wins, we lose," which I found is a really interesting tagline. It's actually Alien versus Predator, so whoever wins, we kind of lose in that situation. And yeah, you got everything else right. There's just, oh yes, Adonis Creed's nickname is actually Hollywood in Creed.
See, it's like,
I see you were kind of going for the...
I feel like I should appeal that question because Donnie is what his girlfriend calls him the whole movie.
I see what you're saying.
So,
I think, you know what? That is quite...
You should have said boxer nickname.
That you have a point there. You do have a point there. Yeah.
It's alright, go home, we won.
No, you know, that is a good point. This is nickname. And technically, Donnie is his nickname. Whereas if I were to say ring name or stage name, it could be... You know what? I'm in a giving mood. I'm going to give you that point. It is my fault. So, Rodolphe gets a 5 points. Still the same place on the leaderboard, but 5 points. Harder to beat. Definitely harder to beat. A really good score. Well done, sir. Well done. Something that you can do.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I like to do in good faith. I always get this wrong, but if you want to ask me a single, maybe like one movie trivia question, you can go ahead and do that. I'll probably get it wrong. I'm telling you right now, but just if you want to.
You mean to ask you?
Yeah, to ask me a question. Maybe even Luke could take it, but yeah, I'll probably get it wrong.
Hey, yeah, if you have a question, go ahead.
I found out that my movie trivia is like not good. Let me see.
Anything at all.
Man.
Just not about the Hurt Locker. I haven't seen that film. You could ask me about 20.
I promise I've seen other movies.
Well, that'd be biased 24 because I'd probably get that right. Maybe even about a film you've seen.
What's the name of the main character in 24 Legacy?
24 Legacy. Oh my goodness, I know this.
What's the name of the main character
putting me on
in
the
24
spot.
Legacy?
Oh, okay, hold on. Do I have 60 seconds for this one question? Do I have 60 seconds for this one question? His name is... I know this. You're making me embarrass myself.
Donnie.
Oh my goodness. I can't think of his name right now. I can't think of it. I'm embarrassed right now. But I can't think of it. What's the first letter?
E.
E. What the heck? What's his name? What is his name?
It's Eric Carter.
Eric Carter. Oh my god. I should have known that. Eric Carter. Okay, well, guys, we've come to the end of the show. It's been a pleasure talking to Rodolphe and Luke from ActionVFX. These guys are amazing. I'm sure you, as I said before in the start of the show, you guys definitely know who they are. And I'll obviously have linked their YouTube channel on the end screen of this, as well as their website down below. Is there anything else you guys want to maybe talk about, plug maybe, something, anything, before we wrap this up?
I mean, as always, like, we do have a lot of free assets and stuff. So if you're just getting individual effects, or maybe need some more resources, even tutorials, educational stuff. We have tons of that, so come by our social media channels and check that out as well.
Yeah, we've definitely been putting a lot more work into our blog and just educational content, you know, like you're saying, tutorials and things like that. So yeah, definitely check it out and, you know, let us know what we can produce to help you guys more. So that's always going to be, you know, that's part of our long-term vision for sure. So
yeah, so definitely check out their website. Definitely check out the free assets. I'll also link that down below just for you guys. And I'll plug something right here. If you guys are considering buying one of their collections, I do have a special code that you can use to get 50% off, which is pretty cool. So, or 10% off, not 50, 10% off. So definitely use that. It's called Code Red Alert. Code Red Alert. Isn't that what happens when there's a bomb going off? Code Red Alert or something? That would make a lot of sense because it's an explosion. So yeah, Code Red Alert, 10% off your purchase. 10% of your purchase at ActionVFX. Use that. Yeah, it's been a pleasure, dudes. Thank you so much for being on this podcast. It means a lot to me, and I'm sure it means a lot to the viewers.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Definitely. I'll have their Twitter handles on screen, so tweet them if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, anything you want to see. But other than that, thank you guys for watching. Subscribe down below and stay tuned for the next episode, which should be coming shortly. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next episode. And that is...
Hashtag Jack in Space.
Hashtag Jack in Space. Hashtag 24 Rodolphe 24.